This came as a hold on a second.
That was on my end.
Please evacuate immediately to the nearest room.
Oh, they're telling us to evacuate our rooms.
Okay. Well, tonight's game, you had a closer look at Hyunjin Ryu. As Hyunjin was getting off the mound in the first inning, did you have some sort of an exchange with him? Because it looked like he kind of turned towards you as you were walking back into the dugout. Did you say something to him?
Yeah, I didn't say anything, but he did. He said, hey. So he was just acknowledging that he knew I was there, and that was nice of him. But I don't ever like to bother guys while they're out there trying to perform. You know, it's one of those things that these guys are out there performing. Nobody pays to see me coach third base, and we don't have fans right now anyhow. But you know, I try to leave these guys alone. He's out there doing his craft, and he did it very well tonight.
What was your observation? What did you see from him today? His command seemed a little bit off.
Yeah, but he still got back in counts with the changeup, and he was pitching to both sides of the plate and elevating his fastball the way he can. And at the end of the day, you know, when he needs to go to that changeup, he knows he can throw it for a strike or throw it just out of the zone. So it was very typical Hyunjin, and he was, even though he wasn't as sharp as I've seen, he was still very, very good.
And you can't tell us everything, but what was kind of your game plan going into tonight's game?
Well, knowing that he was going to go to his changeup whenever he needed to. But, you know, there's so much late fate to it, and it's so deceptive that it makes it really, really difficult on the hitters. And then, you know, he can still get it up to 90, 91, 92 if he has some reach back in him. I think he hit 91 a couple of times tonight. So, you know, it may look easy on the air, but, you know, when you've got that changeup that looks like coming out of the exact same arm slot and it's 10 miles an hour off that 89 to 91 mile an hour fastball, he makes it tough on you.
What makes, besides changeup, what do you think, what makes him a special pitcher?
The ability to stay away from the barrel. You know, he can still flip that curveball in there. He's got the slider where he can back foot it to mostly right-handed hitters. You know, so he's very deceptive not only with his change in velocity, but also changing planes with the ball. You know, he can make it come here. He can make it stay on the same plane until that changeup fades out of the zone, down and away from the right-handed hitter. And then he's going to throw that fastball in and away, and especially up in the zone to try to get chased. So he's got a lot of weapons, and he never panics. You know, it's the same over you that I saw in L.A., and just like he's been his whole career over here, he doesn't have any panic in him. He stays very, very composed, and he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he reads swings very, very well.
Donnie knows him really well, and I know that Hyunjin, he's a very special person. Have you had any opportunity to speak to Donnie about Ryu?
Oh, yeah, we've talked about him many times over the years, and you know, Donnie holds him in very high esteem for the craftiness that he uses with his left-handed, his starting ability at the major league level. Donnie holds him in very high regard.
Okay. Well, Skip, thank you so much for your time. It was really good to see you. The fans here miss you. We wish nothing but the best to you, to the team, and for your family as well. One last word for all the Korean fans, not just SK Wyverns, but all baseball fans in Korea. What can you say to them?
KBO fans, I miss you. I miss you very much. Thank you so much for all your support for me when I was there with SK. And I wish you all health and happiness. And I hope your families are all well. And just keep supporting the KBO.
Ben, thank you so much for your time. We obviously don't get your network, your work, so can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do for the Blue Jays and for the networks that you work for?
Sure, I'm the radio broadcaster for the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm in my third year after a honestly interesting connection after spending 11 seasons broadcasting the Buffalo Bisons, which is the AAA affiliate, for now the Blue Jays AAA affiliate. I broadcast almost 800 games in Buffalo, New York. So my baseball career spans 14 years, and obviously I'm where I want to be. I want to be calling Major League Baseball and having the chance to broadcast the Blue Jays games for Sportsnet and on Sportsnet Radio all across Canada. I mean, it's beyond even Toronto.
Well, Hyunjin, 4 starts, first 2 not great, last 2 pretty decent. Overall, what's your assessment on Hyunjin start to his Blue Jays career?
I think he's been a guy that's been trying to build a pitch count, find the pitches for the first couple of starts, and the Blue Jays, like a couple of other teams, have had so much adversity thrown at them. They've had zero sense of normalcy. So they tried in that Major League debut to get him through that 5th inning and tried so dearly to get him that first W. You know, he was such a talking point for the organization and the franchise, and Hyunjin Ryu put obviously so much emphasis on coming out of the gate, being ready to log a victory for the Blue Jays, and they wanted to get him qualified for that 5th inning and then log the win. Pitch count was elevating. I saw a little fatigue in that Major League, well, in that Blue Jays debut. That was unfortunate because he was right there on the cusp. You know, that would have been a great way to launch into his Blue Jays career. Didn't work out. I didn't think he was just sharp in his second outing. The third outing, you started to see a little bit more crispness. The changeup was there. The changeup was low. And the amazing thing that I'm starting to appreciate about Hyunjin is the fact that he's throwing all of his pitches at different times and in different parts of the strike zone. And today, maybe the best start so far of all the 4. And the fact that, I thought so. You know, I thought maybe his fastball wasn't tricking the Marlins as much as you would expect. So he went to the secondary stuff, and maybe we saw some more curveballs than he had been featuring in the first couple of starts. I think that there's plenty more to come from Hyunjin Ryu, but I think because, you know, he's not an overpowering guy and he's not going to throw 100 miles an hour. It's all about the feel. And I think that, like a lot of the rest of Major League Baseball's field pitchers, then the good stuff is still coming in the next week or 2. So it'll be really interesting to see how much further advanced he is after 2 more starts.
One thing that I noticed from tonight's game is it was my first time watching a game at Salem Field. It looks like if a right-handed batter pulls and puts the ball in the air, it has a pretty good chance to go out. Is it a hitter-friendly park?
It's about in the middle, and it's interesting because it will change in terms of the time of the year. In April and May, it's not that friendly of a ballpark. The wind comes off of Lake Erie and it cuts across from right to left at a pretty good clip. Tonight was pretty windy. If you looked at the scene for Hyunjin Ryu, you could see the wind kind of peeling the jersey away from his body early on. The wind calmed down later in the ball game, but it is more friendly in terms of the jet stream for right-handed pull hitters. That's why you have the higher wall in left field. But the jet stream is a little bit of a concern for right-handed hitters to left field to left center field. So keeping the ballpark necessarily isn't a big problem, but it is a little bit of a concern because of the jet stream that goes with the wind predominantly blowing out towards left field.
You got to see him in spring training. What was your first impression when you, as we went through that whole process of spring training 1.0, whatever you want to call it? Did you like what you saw in Hyunjin?
I did, and the first thing that resonated with me is how engaging he was with his teammates. And it didn't necessarily mean engaging with people coming to him. He was going to other people that he was trying to get to know and fast track that relationship. So that was really encouraging to me, and that kind of lived up to what you expected and you heard from people that covered the Dodgers too about how quickly people gravitate to him and his energy within the room, let alone what he does on the baseball diamond, because we know he's a fantastic pitcher. And then we watched not necessarily the outings that he had against traditional major league opponents in spring training, but watching him in the backfield and the way that he would tinker with certain pitches and work on certain pitches and maybe throw a changeup 8 times in a row in a bullpen. That was what was really impressive to me, is how methodical he was in going through the processes to get pitches or the pitch count or just find that grip, that feel of the baseball early on in spring training. So that was one thing that really stuck out. And then I got to watch him throw a couple of inter-squad games at Dunedin Stadium. And the same thing that kind of jumped out there when he was working on his pitches, but also then he would change up his pitches, where he would throw a firm fastball, back off on the fastball, and then The two things that really stuck out was the different curveballs that he threw. A little bit more of a looper, the traditional 12 to 6 tumbling curveball, but then a little bit more of a firmer curveball that just had the sharper break. So that really stuck out. It was a really big learning experience for me because now I'm watching for it while we're watching the broadcasts.
What have you heard about Hyunjin, whether it's people from front office or from coaching staff? Did you hear anything interesting about Hyunjin coming into the season?
The fact that he's kind of the leader of the clubhouse in certain instances when it comes to music and dancing and razzing his teammates, which is great because this is a really young clubhouse right now for the Blue Jays, at least specifically, and kind of the guys that they're going to be around. And Hyunjin is going to be right in the middle of that over the next 4 years with the contract that he signed. And I think as much adversity and as many tough games that the Blue Jays have been in, to have that light-natured approach and his attitude and his energy, that's only going to benefit not only him, but it's going to benefit his teammates, where they don't feel as tight when the number one starter in their rotation goes to the mound. You know, there will be a sense of confidence, there will be a sense of calm, and obviously there's a relationship already with these guys that's been established with the personality that he has. And I've heard that echoed from his teammates now and people that he's already impressed in the coaching staff and in the front office.
All right, Ben. Really late over there. Thank you so much. I hope we could do this a couple of times more. Stay safe, and I really hope to see you soon.
Yes, I hope to see you soon too. This has been great.
All right, thanks, Ben. Take care.